Hello, and we've got the fantastic ventriloquism, who's got a fantastic first name. It's Max Fulham.
Hello, Max. I agree. It's a great name.
Oh, yeah, I've loved everything you do with the ventriloquism and stuff like that. But how did you first get into ventriloquism?
Well, I first started when I was about 9 years old. My parents bought me a puppet for Christmas, just as like a toy, not to be like, go and make a career with this. But it went from there really. I'd always loved making people laugh, and once I was into magic. Obviously, sort of we met through Blackpool Magic Convention. I was into magic. I was into sort of performing of all sorts, and then I got a puppet for Christmas and caught the bug from there really.
Ah, brilliant. And for magicians who may not understand the art of ventriloquism, what hooked you on ventriloquism over other forms of variety or magic?
Oh, I think it was definitely the comedy element. Like I know you can do very funny things with magic and other variety arts, but for me, the fact that I could get some really good laughs through the puppet, and also the puppet can be blamed for anything, was great because I was a little goody two shoes, and it meant the puppet could sort of unleash havoc, and I could get away with it, which is great.
And when you're creating like a new character, like the Billy Bear character, what comes first? The voice, the personality, the look, or the premise?
Do you know what? That's a really good question. I think it varies from character to character for me now. I said carrot to character, not character to character. And if I can't talk, the puppets have no hope. But essentially, it varies. For Billy Bear, that's a really great one to bring up. I remembered Billy Bear Ham from like when I was a kid, and I thought, well, that's got a face. I could make that talk. So that was sort of the concept coming up first, and then I made the puppet. Um, but with other characters, I've seen the puppet first and gone, I really like that puppet. I want that puppet. A bit similar with like magic, where you go, I really like that trick. I want that trick, and you buy that trick, and then you have to sort of work out how you get it into your show. Um, that I've sort of bought a puppet and gone, oh, I really want to use this in some way. And sometimes it's instant, sometimes it takes ages, and a puppet will be sitting in a box or on a shelf for quite a long time before I go, oh, I could use that puppet for this, which is always a nice feeling. So yeah, it really really varies.
And who makes your puppets?
I've got puppets made by loads of different people. So, Grandad was made by a fantastic puppet maker in the Philippines, which is so cool. And I've sort of got puppets from all over the world. I've got some that were made in America. I've got a good few that were made in the UK by people like Phil Fletcher, who does Hack the Dog, is an amazing puppet maker. Also, Chris Kendall, who makes my monkeys for me, which is an insane sentence to say. He's a genius when it comes to puppet making. My good friend Joe Peak as well is a phenomenal puppet maker, and I was sort of very. He made my most recent puppet, which I don't think I've really shown many people, and. I was so excited to get a puppet from him made. So partly I go, oh, who can I get to make a puppet? Because I really want them to build a puppet for me. So yeah, they come from all over the place.
And of course, you travel a lot, traveling in the UK, doing stuff like that. When your puppets like tear and break, do you have more than one puppet? Like, do you have more than one Gordon? Do you have more than one Grandad?
That's a very good question, and something I'm very scared of happening because, as well as sort of like quite important for my job, they're also incredibly sentimental. I still love puppets and puppetry, so I try and take the best care I possibly can of them, even if I am a bit violent with them occasionally on stage. Off stage, I try and make sure they're all um, nicely packed away. But if something was to happen, I usually have a little sewing kit with me, if something was to go very wrong. Or I've sent off for like mad things like replacement tongues, and things like that. The people get some strange messages from me going, I need a new tongue. Um, but yeah, I do have multiples of the puppets, both in case one gets damaged or wears out, because they do wear out eventually, especially when you're using them a lot. Or in case I need a stunt double for a puppet. So, for example, I at one point I needed Grandad to get changed whilst he was in the case. So we just did a switch. So it was really useful that I had the duplicate. Um, And then, yeah, there is the case of having one spare just in case it needs to be ready to go, the understudy.
Yeah. And a lot of magicians just struggle with being funny. Like, there's fantastic magicians who can be funny, but not. I mean this in the nice way possible, but not a lot can be funny. Do you see yourself as a comedian or a ventriloquist first?
Oh, it's really interesting. I'd probably say comedian, and probably a lot of people would disagree with that, just because ventriloquism makes up so much of my act. But for me, I'm only using ventriloquism as um, a vessel for comedy. I'm only using it for comedic purposes. If it's not really getting laughs, I'm not really that interested. Um, and it's like when people say comedy magician or comedy ventriloquist, it sounds a little bit old or naff. And people are like, no. So I tend to say comedian and ventriloquist because that makes all the difference and is much better. But yeah, I'd probably say comedian first, but it is probably neck and neck because I do so much ventriloquism and it's sort of my niche, I suppose.
And of course, ventriloquism is like you said, a very niche topic. Who was the ventriloquist? Who was the ventriloquist that got you into ventriloquism?
There are so many. Max, there are so many. I was inspired by so many different ventriloquists. Interestingly, from so many different eras as well. I mean, you can see behind me if you're watching this that I've got like really old ventriloquist dummies that some people find terrifying. I mean, look at that face. How could you find that scary at all? Um, so I really like the old stuff as well. So I used to watch clips on YouTube of really old ventriloquists like Arthur Worsley, then sort of all the way up through Ray Allen, Terry Rogers, all people who I adore, and if you haven't heard of them, everyone should go and check them out. All the way up to the modern day, you know. Uh, I remember watching Paul Zerdin on YouTube as a kid, Nina Conti, loads of different people, lots and lots of people.
Yeah. And rehearsals for you, is it completely scripted? Like, do you like script it all, or is it more like in rehearsal process you improvise and see what's funny?
It's a mixture of both. I will write, and I'm trying to get better at writing and writing more often, and into the habit and being a good little comedian and doing my writing. But I love improvising. I love both responding to situations that are happening in a show that will never happen anywhere else. But also there's a sense of improvising where you're writing on stage and those things will stay in the act. And I've recently been doing some work in progress shows to build up some new material. And so whilst I have written a load of ideas, it's also about keeping yourself in a place where, I'm open-minded to seeing where something might go or trying something new with it, even if it doesn't work, because they're, a safe space to try ideas out. But you can write on stage and come up with something new, try something new, see if it works, and if it does, you can keep it in and develop it further. So it's a bit of both. It's never sort of one hard and fast rule, I'd say.
Yeah. And how did you get booked for the BMC Gala show? Because everyone knows you from that, or at least every magician I spoke to knows you from that. How did you get booked for it? Like, did Russ Brown or Stephen see your show?
It's a ridiculous time at the Blackpool Magic Convention because magicians just know me because I've done it a few years now, and it's very strange that people sort of the rest of the year people don't know me, and so then I arrive in Blackpool in February for the convention. People know me, and it's a bit strange. But yeah, so I first performed at Blackpool in 2020. My goodness, what a year! It was probably my penultimate gig before the world shut down.
Yeah.
And it was a very big gig for me. I couldn't believe it. I'd attended Blackpool one or two, maybe three times before that. I worked on a dealer's stand. I worked on Practical Magic stand.
Oh,
Um,
the children's thing, the kids thing.
yeah, with Gary Dunn. Yeah, so I loved working on the stand and demming all sorts of comedy magic stuff. And then in 2020, my agent who knows the Russes um got in touch, and I that year in 2020, it's ridiculous to look back on because I think I'd be too scared to do it now, but because I was younger and I had less inhibitions, I did a spot on the gala show. I did a full show one night when there were less shows opposite the gala shows. We have a choice of many shows you
Oh
can go
yeah.
and see. I also did a lecture as well. So I was very busy that year. So that was 2020. Then in 2023, I think it was, I did I hosted the gala for the first time, which was absolutely petrifying. And then the year after that, Russ said, um, Max, would you like to do it again? And I, because I'm a bit stupid, said, Russ, could I please have a year where I just go and look at all the magic and just I'll just buy a ticket, please. I just wanted a year because there was so much pressure, and I think I was hosting on the Sunday as well, which meant the whole convention, all I was thinking about was the work element. And obviously I love Blackpool Magic Convention. I love it so much. It's such an amazing event. And it just seems to get better every year, which is I don't know how they're doing that. Um, I don't know how they manage to top it every year. So I said to Russ, "Can I just have a year where I come as a ticket buyer?" And he was like, "Yeah, absolutely," because he's very understanding. And then after that, in 2025, I was like, "Okay, I'll do it again." But it's the scariest thing I've ever done. And then I said yes again for 2026. I did it. I've done it 2 years in a row now, and three times in total, which is slightly bonkers.
Honestly, though, it was honestly amazing. Like the Grandad sketch with the Ninja air fryer, I was laughing at that for ages.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it was good fun. It was nice to work out what material was new that I could use for that, or material I hadn't done there for a long time. And yeah, I'm really glad you enjoyed that bit.
And since I've literally just heard this now, but you spoke about magic, you spoke about a lecture. What happened inside your lecture? Because normally they only
Uh,
have magicians.
yeah, I love the lectures at Blackpool, and I think um, sometimes people overlook them because they're too busy throwing cards at each other or whatever they're doing. But I did a lecture. It was about yes, exactly. What do they call it? Sessioning. Is that what they call it?
Yeah, I don't really know. I just spent
So
500 quid in the dealers.
wow, that is impressive. Um, but the lecture was, I talked about my techniques for ventriloquism because I think some people want to get into ventriloquism. Some people are just interested in how it works, I suppose, and hearing it sort of firsthand. I also mentioned a few ideas I'd had involving magic props. I talked about combining ventriloquism and magic together, and I think I talked about a bit about creative process as well. That was a long time ago.
Yeah. And I've seen you again, I've seen you perform many times at the Gala show. But the thing that always stand out to me was the magic comedy sketches, like the Dippy Duck and the Run Rabbit Run. How on earth did you come up with that? Because it's genuinely brilliant.
Right. One of my greatest loves in the entire world is writing jokes that are just for magicians, and I don't know why I enjoy it so much. Um, but I really do. I really love it. I think it's weirdly very useful to go. It's like very restricted in terms of what everyone in that room will know. But sometimes restrictions like that are really useful when you're creating something. So I love writing jokes for magicians. And in answer to your question about those two specific bits, is I've learned over the years that sometimes you need to collaborate with people. So I've got a few people, a few very good friends who will I'll bounce ideas around with, or I'll say, I need some new ideas for Blackpool this year. Please help me. And those are people like Danny Buckler, who's an amazing comedian and a ridiculously skilled magician as well. My friend James Arnott as well. And I've bounced ideas around so many other friends, but those are sort of the main two who I always set up meetings with in January and February to write some stuff for the gala. So Danny last year we were eating some chicken and he went, "What about Dippy Duck?" And I went, "Well, yes, of course, because I am obsessed with that prop. I love old magic props like that." And everyone will know it. And he went, and all it should say is "I find cards." And so we went from there and developed the sketch. And then again this year, Danny said, "Oh, what about Run Rabbit Run?" But someone dressed as a rabbit.
Then just the end with Chris Angel, just the Chris Angel reveal. That
Yeah,
had
I
me
mean, we
laughing.
had so many different endings worked out. Danny suggested a genius one where um we did a switch, so I ripped the rabbit's head off and it was me. But I was like, I do not have the confidence to put. I'm terrified of performing magic, genuinely. But we were gonna. I was gonna try and get. At one point, I was thinking, oh, could I actually get someone genuinely famous to be the rabbit? Like, could I rip the head? Could it be Dynamo in the rabbit costume? I thought that would have been ridiculous, but then I thought, actually, I've got to go for the what would be the biggest laugh, and that's how
Yeah.
we came up with Chris Angel because he had to pull out of the convention. Um, yeah.
Last year, when you were doing, sorry, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm completely forgotten what year inside in. So last year, when you were doing the gala show, when Mark Spellman came out and then you came dressed as the X, was that an idea with Chris Brown or Chris Stevens, or was that an idea you came up with Mark Spellman and you?
So that was Russ Stevens and Mark who came up with that genius opening to the show. I was so excited when Russ said I was going to be involved in it. I was very scared as well because I didn't want to. I was really nervous about mucking up the start of the massive Friday Night Gala show, and two, mucking up someone else's act as well. Um, and as I said, magic terrifies me, so like I didn't want to mug it up. But Russ Stevens, like as well as organising the convention, I don't think people necessarily appreciate the sort of creative direction that he puts into the convention in terms of the gala shows and also the like all of the venues and things like that. Just creatively directing all of these things as well. So he has a massive sort of creative vision on the gala shows, and he wanted to do a big trick like that to open it last year. So he was telling me all about it, and then I worked with Mark to do that, and Russ directed it the day before, and then we managed to pull it off.
And what were some ideas for Magic Comedy sketches that you didn't get to do?
Oh, that's a really good question. I've got a document. I was gonna take the mick out of, and I still might, to be honest. There was a really popular trick this year where like magicians would put their phone on the floor and then it would levitate up to
Oh,
their
Leviosa
hand.
Phone.
What's it called?
Leviosa Phone by Joey Miranda. I think it's Joey Miranda. It's one of them. So,
My goodness,
Monturo.
you are knowledgeable. That is great. Um, but I think it was my friend James who said you should walk on stage, put your phone on the floor, and just hold your hand above it for a bit, and nothing happens. So I was gonna do that, but I ended up actually accumulating slightly more material than I needed this year, just as the gala show was brilliant and really sort of slick. Um, so I might do that another year. So maybe watch out for that another time if I ever get asked back.
Yeah. And what inspired you to come up with those magic sketches? Like you've already said about how like other people influenced you. What made you think I've got to do this instead of me doing my own material that I've done in my previous shows?
Oh my goodness! I mean, I think so. When you're asked to host the gala show, there's an aspect of you are filling time whilst there's some incredible setup going on behind the curtain for the next act. Um, so there's an element of you have to fill the time, you have to be entertaining, um, but also you're at a magic convention, and this show is the magic convention gala show. So for me, it's about tailoring it to that show. It's important enough as a performance, and important enough to me. It's very important to me that I tailor stuff just for that show, especially in such a massive venue, and with such an international audience as well. So then it's about weaving together what works from my working material and the stuff that I write, especially for the convention. So I usually use most of my own material in the main spot I'm given. So I'm given a 15-minute spot. And then in the other moments, I'll do a few lines here and there, but then mostly then custom bits for the convention, just so that it feels like a show that is designed. Well, so it is a show that is designed just for Blackpool Magic Convention because I think that's what makes it special and what makes the show um, really successful is the incredible acts that Russ books and then just tying it all together as best I can as a host.
Yeah. And of course, you've just found out today that you've been nominated for the best comic in the Pantos across the
Yeah,
UK.
yeah, that was great. That was today. Yeah, yeah, nominated for a Great British Pantomime Award. How ridiculous is that? It's very lovely. And that was for Southampton last year. Which was so much fun. And so it was really lovely to, yeah, that was very lovely news today. I was very happy about that. Thank you.
Did you find out before, or literally was it just today and everyone was just tagging
Found out
you?
today because yeah, so the announcements came out today, and I've sort of got a few texts from people, and I was like, "What are they talking about?" And then I got tagged in a post, and I was like, "Oh my goodness!" There.
Yeah. And what do you think won you that award? Was it your famous juggling two balls but standing on one leg? Like, what do you think, in your own opinion, won that award
I don't
or has been
know.
nominated?
Oh God, I mean, I wasn't in the meetings. It oh, that's a really difficult question because it sort of requires boasting. I would say, I suppose, like uh, because I also bring the ventriloquism element to it. Um, I suppose I add something slightly different to the role of comic that isn't seen everywhere else, and so it makes for a slightly unique experience. I also think the strength of the show around me last year was like off the scale. Like we had a fantastic show. I've been so lucky to be in so many brilliant pantos. Um, but last year, like I was on the London Palladium set, which was so cool. Um, but it just meant everything was really sort of working. So hopefully it just meant that I was a really sort of good cog in that wonderful pantomime machine. That's what I'm going to say. What a ridiculous sentence.
And of course, a few years ago, you were on Crackerjack doing juggling two balls, standing on one leg while Gordon was levitating and reciting the alphabet backwards. What
Mm.
what happened through your head when you dropped that ball?
I thought that, yeah, so essentially for people who don't know, I was doing a juggling routine on TV and I dropped a ball. Um, I thought my life was over, Max. I thought my career was over. Um, I was really worried. And we were filming that just after there was still some COVID restrictions in place at the time we filmed that. So the first time I did Crackerjack, there was a full studio audience. So there was a bank of seats and there was hundreds of people there, which meant we had that live reaction doing the comedy. But the second time, it was an empty studio. So I was already nervous because it felt like I wasn't doing very well because there wasn't actually much laughter happening. And then I dropped the flipping ball. And I thought, well, because there's no audience, surely I could just do it again. I could just do it. I'll just do it again. We'll just cheat. I'll just do it again. Um, but the director came down and he went, no, it was good because I sort of then improvised and sort of said some things when it happened, and then sort of tried it again and did it. And he went, no, that was great. We'll do. No, it was great. We'll use that. And I was like, are you sure? And he's like, yeah, we'll use that. So I was really worried, and then I saw it go out, and I was like, oh, I think that actually looked quite funny. And some people asked me if I dropped it deliberately, even, which is mental because why would I do that? I was on TV. I was very nervous.
Yeah, because we could see it on your face when your face changed and you're like, oh no. Literally, oh. Just wondering, were you mad at the BBC for keeping that inside the episode? Because it could have been edited.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say I was particularly sort of angry because I really trusted I mean, the team on that show was amazing. Um, and I talked to them on the day because I was like, are you sure it's going to work? Is it going to be okay to go out? Do you need me to do it again? And they were like, no, I think it's going to edit together really well. And it did in the end. So I was really, really happy with it. And it's not, it's not like it was kept in to make me look bad at all. It almost made it more impressive when it actually went right in the end. It was a really fun moment.
And moving on back to BMC, from what I've seen, you've always chosen Grandad over Gordon. Was that something you chose? Like, was that deliberate?
Gordon appeared when I first did it in 2020 in my main show, and actually in 2023
Because
he
I've
was
only
also
seen it live in 2026.
yeah, in 2023 I also brought him out for the gala shows as well. I think the only reason I'm slightly less likely to is because um he's more of a family character, and I know that whilst it's not sort of a super adult show in the gala show, um his routines don't necessarily always suit themselves. But I had some really good custom stuff for the convention with him. So yeah, Grandad is just a go-to character for that sort of show, really, I suppose.
Yeah. I had a question in my head, but forget about that. What made you think that? Like, what made you think this was like a career turning point? Like, you thought I could do this for a living.
Oh, good question. Good question. Um, what do you think you want to do for a living? Do you want to do magic? Do you want to do podcasting? Do you want to do something else entirely?
I want to be an MC host, like what you do. I want to like host garden shows. I want to be like the next John Archer.
Oh my goodness, that's so brilliant. Oh, John's great. Oh, that's so great. That's fantastic. Well, this is great experience for hosting that because you're hosting your own podcast. That's fantastic. Congratulations. I suppose for me, I was performing all throughout secondary school and sixth form, and I had a place at university. I was going to study linguistics, and I took a gap year just to try performing full time and seeing if that was going to work at all. Not really expecting what happened, which is I had enough in the diary that I then ended up cancelling my place at university, which is not a decision I took lightly. Um, and then I'm still on my gap year, Max. I'm just still on my
Wow.
gap year. Yeah. So it's just it went from there. So that was the moment. And there were times when I was like, have I made the right decision? With any big decision, you're always going to go, have I made the right decision? Um, but yeah, I've been working full time, doing my nonsense ever since.
And just wondering, you did your Fulham show at the Edinburgh Fringe last year. Of course, with venue hires and hotel hires, you probably lost most of your money. What made you decide to carry on doing it? Because you probably lost like a grand, 2 grand, stuff like that.
And the rest. Yes. Um, the Fringe it's not something I was doing to make money. If that, like, I suppose that's the answer, really. It wasn't something I was going, "Oh, I can do this and make a lot of money." It was more for the sort of creative satisfaction of going, I want to put together a brand new show. It was the sort of thing of I've always wanted to do the Fringe. Let's do my first Fringe. And just being it's a really good place to be seen within the comedy industry. So it was more for those reasons than any sort of reason of profit. Because but yeah, so it's fascinating because it does seem quite illogical because even with a sold out run, thank you so much. Even with a sold out run, uh, I mean it was a very small venue, so it was okay to sell out. Like, it was sold out, right? You say sold out run, and people are like, um, there was no sort of profit once everything had sort of balanced out, but it was still so worthwhile doing, still so worthwhile doing, and I'm working on a new show now.
And I've just thought of my question again. With Blackpool, with the Run Rabbit Run thing, how many mates did you message before you landed on Joey to become Chris Angel?
He is going to love this question when it goes out. Um, he was the first person I messaged because
No.
I knew, I think I said something. I knew he'd say yes. I knew he'd say yes because all I had to say was like, do you want to put on a rabbit costume and run across the third largest theatre in the UK? And he was like, yeah, sure. And I was like, okay, great. Yeah, I knew he'd say yes, and he did. And then the next day, when people were coming up to me and going, "Oh, well done, we really enjoyed that last night," and he was going, "Yes, and I'm the rabbit. Nice to meet you." So he definitely enjoyed it for sure.
Just wondering, did he get a free pass out of it?
Well, I had as part of my contract, I had a guest registration, so I can have someone with me to help with all my props and stuff.
Uh,
So luckily he was able to come along. Yeah.
oh, that's good. And
I didn't message Russ Stevens and go, Russ, can I have a free ticket to Blackpool for a human-sized rabbit, please? Um, because I'm not sure how well that would have gone down.
and if a young ventriloquist or magician who wants to become a ventriloquist is listening, what tips have you got?
Oh, just keep going. Just keep having fun with it. That's what you've got to do because if you're enjoying it, people will enjoy it, and also you'll come up with more original ideas if you're playing with your art form and really enjoying it. It's something I sort of wish I did more still, and I'm trying to get back to that. Don't put pressure on yourself to turn it into a job too quickly, because then you'll realize that there are some sort of worky elements to it as well. And you go, oh, that's a bit rubbish. I don't like that bit. I like this bit. And so you do that bit and just focus on that bit for as long as you can. Um, yeah, I think it's definitely about, especially in those sort of early years, of going for as much enjoyment with it as possible. I think it's for sure the best path for not only sort of succeeding with it in a great way, but also having the most sort of positive personal experience with it as well. I think you don't want to fall out of love with the thing that you love, you know?
Yeah. And one final question: where can people buy tickets to Fulham or many of your other shows?
Oh, good question. And a great opportunity for a plug. Thank you, Max. I would say have a look on my website, maxfulham.com, or if you want to, you can go to maxfulham.com/shows. And that's where you can see all my upcoming shows. I will also announce stuff on Instagram at maxfulham. And have a look out for tickets to work in progress shows at the moment. I'm working on some new stuff. I'm working up a new show. I'm quite excited about it. It's going to be a bit different, a bit bonkers, and I'm very excited to see what it ends up being, because even I don't know yet. So come along and have a laugh, and we'll work it out together, essentially. But you can find those dates on my website.
Thank you for being on the podcast.
No, thank you so much for having me, Max. This is brilliant.
Thank you so much. It's the end. Goodbye.